Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on which part of the world you are in. My name is Amit Mathur, and I am here to present some of the use cases which my company Ensurety Technologies have implemented on the field. These are all using FIDO authentication, and I hope you will find these interesting. And I'll try to, give you as much detail as possible about these use cases. So let me first share my screen. So these are some of the use cases and the challenges which we have faced on the field, and you will get an idea of what we have done on the field and how we have tried to overcome these challenges. The first use case, which we cracked was immediately after Microsoft announced the password access to Azure AD. This was the preview version, but this company wanted to go ahead with the solution because when we met them, or the problem statement was that they have this BPO which has overseas clients, and the agents who were working there were sharing the password amongst each other, and which was leading to a lot of issues, including unwanted data getting into different hands, or people were able to access the data which they were not supposed to do. So they conducted a POC across multiple locations. Unfortunately, this POC was a pretty quick one, and they realized that the FIDO solution, using a biometric key, is something which works very well for them. And after this POC, we started deploying the solution across again multiple locations in India, though there were certain locations outside India as well. The good part of the deployment was, the environment was Azure AD joint systems, which where Microsoft was already supporting these FIDO keys, so it was that way a pretty quick deployment. We completed the whole deployment in just about 3 weeks, and across, as I said, multiple locations. So these keys were handed over to the employees, or to the agents who were coming there. We to handhold them, we did put a help desk initially, because this was the first installation which we were doing, and we too were also not aware as to what kind of issues we would face when we installed. So obviously there was some handholding which had to be done for the customers. But we learned a lot from this, and we guided them as to how to enroll the fingers, and how to use the keys, and what is it that they could do, what is it that they could not do. And it's been almost 2.5 years now, and the company has been using this solution, and everything is working fine for them. So this was our first installation, and as I said earlier, this was a pretty simple installation. And as we move along, I will explain you the complexities which are coming in with these installations, and how we are overcoming them. The second one was with an energy company. Now, this is they have a large base, and they do have Windows 10 workstations as well. Now, what they wanted was a strong authentication, to the Windows OS and their applications, and they also wanted to mandate a biometric use for authentication when they log in. So that was the second thing which they wanted. While they were testing these keys, they realized that the PIN could be shared amongst employees, and they did not want to do that. So hence they wanted to mandate the biometric use. They also wanted the user to be restricted to only one Microsoft account. Okay, so that was their second requirement. And third, which was very interesting, was they were wondering as to how they would control these keys. Now, every IT department basically wants that the management of any solution which they deploy, should be easy, okay, and it should not burden them and their staff. So they wanted to check out with us as to how will they manage these keys, and that is where we provided them with something which we have as an asset management system. So if I get into the details, our ThinC Auth, the FIDO biometric key, we give a tool which can work both in an individual as well as corporate mode. And in the corporate mode, they could disable the pin fallback option. Okay, and obviously there's a firmware which needs to support that. So that is what we did for this company. And we also restricted the key to a single Microsoft account. Okay, so that this prevents adding another account for by the user. And finally, we developed and gave them an asset management system. And the good part is, as I mentioned, the IT can, from one location control all the keys. So it doesn't only manage your inventory, but you could activate the customers. You could sync it with Azure AD. You can deactivate. This is anything which you want to do for the customer could be done from the central location itself. So this proved very handy, and they could dig out the logs and reports as to when the customer has used it and when they log out. All those details are centrally available. So this tool basically helps the users when there are multiple locations and there are the number of keys is high, and this is something which has worked very well for them, and the control mechanism is in place and which gives them a lot of comfort feeling. So these are the things which we did for this company. And the next case which came to us has been from the government, and this took us a long time, for the POC to conclude. Now they wanted a three-factor while they already had a lot of security, parameters and for the access. But this being in the financial segment, dealing with multiple transfers of money and all, they wanted to raise their security levels. So what they wanted from us and what they were looking out for a three-factor, what you have, what you know, and what you are. I mean, that is the essence of the authentication which they wanted. So that was the first requirement they had. The other one was that in case of biometric, and which was something which came as a mandate also to them, that they need to use biometric. What they wanted was that in case the credential should be linked to the biometric, okay, which basically meant that when you are enrolling, if you've enrolled two fingers, okay, and you should not be allowed to use the third finger even if you are able to enroll it. Okay, so they wanted to limit that access to the fingers which the user is enrolling in front of his manager, and they had their wherewithal to manage in-house registration. The third thing which they also wanted was their credentials. I mean, how do they ensure that the key which they are using is the same key which has been assigned to them and not something else. So they were checking with us if somehow we could use the parameters of the key, okay, also with the credential and link it up. And finally, there was a requirement for a digital signature as well. And they wondered if we could also use the same key for, digitally signing the documents. So yes, so for the first thing where they wanted a three-factor, our keys, you met the requirement, because what we did was, obviously you had to use the security key. You had to, without the security key, you couldn't do anything. So that met the criteria of what you have. Then obviously we validated with the enrollment of the fingerprint, so who you are, what you are, and the PIN. So these are the three things which this part was pretty easy. Then what we did was, we restricted the number of fingerprints, okay, and we those fingerprints were embedded with the credentials. So which basically means if I have enrolled my three fingers and they have been embedded on the credential, I can enroll the fourth finger as well, but I will not be able to use that for authentication. Which basically means even after I have enrolled, if I want to give this this device to someone else and enroll his finger, he will not be able to use it. So this basically was binding the credentials and the users tightly. So that is the second thing which we offered them. We also have a unique serial number for all these keys. So finally, to ensure that he uses, or the user uses, the key which has been assigned to him, we also took these serial numbers which were embedded into the credentials at the time of registration, which basically was binding the account and the user to the same key. Because these were the things which they realized, there were questions from the audit as well as to how will you manage in case he gets another key, okay, and enrolls? How do you manage, to ensure that he's not able to use it? So these are the three things which we did for them initially, where the biometric was bound to the credential, the serial number of the device was binded to the credential, and you had to use the PIN and the biometric, and obviously one had to have the key to do it. So we ran the POC there, and that is when the final requirement, which was for the digital signature thing, came in, because what they realized was now people were carrying two keys, one for the authentication and one for the uh, for the for signing the documents digitally. So we did some work. We connected with some other people who are doing a similar work, and then finally we were able to integrate the PKI within the FIDO key itself, the biometric key. Okay, and all this we did without altering or changing the FIDO protocols. So now these key also support digital signature. So a user first authenticates using the parameters which were already set, which is the biometric to the credential, the serial number to the credential, and then once he is logged in securely, he can then use the digital signatures as well. So this gives them a one-shop and one device solution, which is something which they always wanted. So it was a very good learning for us. It did take a long time, but finally, they definitely see a huge value in this kind of work which we have done from them. They also had it. They also had legacy applications, so we had to do some work on that on that as well. And these are not Azure ready connected machines. So this is something which we did from one of the government departments. Apart from that, our solutions have also been implemented in hybrid environment as well. So that is the other thing which we have done. Plus, one of the customer also has a lot of thin clients, okay, which they use, and most of the thin clients currently do not support FIDO. So we made some changes. We worked with the thin C clients, the guys who supply a thin C client, and now these FIDO keys also work on these thin clients. So these are the work which we have been doing, and some of the use cases which have been coming in, largely related to identity, where they want to not only protect the identity and secure the identity, but also want that only the authorized people are able to use it, and that too with with whatever policies the organization has. In one particular case, where we have another solution of ours which we have given to a bank for remote access using Linux based system, there too we have incorporated FIDO authentication, and once he authenticates, the user authenticates, he is able to boot from this biometric device using the customized OS which we have built in. So these are interesting things which are coming in, and the good part is as we move along, multiple such requirements and multiple such things which we come across. There have definitely been a lot of challenges and learnings as well. One of the learnings is that everyone out there is wanting to remove passwords. Okay, so they are all sick and tired of passwords. They are looking for an opportunity and a good solution which is scalable to remove the passwords, and that is where the FIDO authentication plays a very, very important role. And so wherever we have given, after the initial rollout, some hiccups, I mean, people have been extremely comfortable with the use of these FIDO devices and FIDO protocol. And the good part is we hardly get any customer complaints on this, and this works perfectly. The second thing is most of the companies have suffered a cyber attack in the recent past, especially during the COVID times, and identity has been the weakest link in all these cases. So the awareness to secure identity is surely growing and growing fast. But yes, awareness and information dissipation is a big challenge, because while people who suffer are start looking around, but people who have been fortunate not to suffer anything are still sitting silent. Okay, and while we are making efforts to increase this awareness that there are solutions available to protect identity and to remove passwords, I guess this may take some more time. Some of the challenges have been, while for the first use case, we were lucky to have a very small POC cycles, but normally the POC cycles are large. That also depends on the segment in which you are working. If you are working with a financial or a banking segment, then there are regulatory issues which you need to clear before you start implementing the solution. There are legacy applications and multiple issues with the operating system and which one has. So the POC cycles currently could range anywhere from 3 to 8 months. Okay, but I think it's worth the effort at the end of the day. Then the other challenges, as you would have understood from the kind of work which we have done to make the solution work. Each organization has its own needs, basis its environment and their policies. So you do have to, make these keys work in their environment without, altering or changing the FIDO protocol, because that is the whole base of the solution. So that is something which we are learning and giving the solutions to the customer. And finally, when the rollout happens, the initial phase of the rollout still remains a challenge because you have to go and educate the customer as to how do they enroll, how do they use the key, what are the things which they can do, what is it that they cannot do. Okay, and there is obviously an apprehension. Okay, because then the user also starts to realize that whatever I do with my system and with this authentication biometric, everything can be attributed to me. So there is that resistance. But more importantly, I think as we start educating the customer as to how to use the key and how it will benefit them as well, things have started falling in place. We have started making a lot of videos which educate the customer as to how and what is it that they can use the key for, and that is surely helping us. So whenever we go for a rollout, we ensure that these videos are distributed among the users. They see it. Despite that, there are cases where we do get requests for help and we do it. But once this initial phase is over, I think after that the sailing has been pretty smooth. So this is what we have been doing. This is something which I wanted to share with you in this summit. We have been part of the FIDO Alliance for a couple of years now. And as we move along, we see this strong authentication gaining ground in markets, not only in India, but other countries as well. And we do get a lot of requests started getting a lot of requests for discussing this kind of a solution, which is a good sign. And I'm sure the challenges which we have seen would obviously increase as you go for larger installations, but we should be able to meet them. So this is where I would like to end, and I thank you for the time to listen to what I had to share, and also thank Authenticate for this opportunity to present these use cases. Thank you very much, and I hope I was able to share something interesting with you.